Appreciate that, Stephen. And I will share something with you and everyone right now. And that is, that episode was super timely because I was considering an exit.
Every single week we put this episode on, and every single week we talk about our incredible partners that help us do that, because there is a lot of stuff that goes on to get this thing out. So first up, we wanted to thank Multicraft. Now, Dave at Multicraft has an Instagram. It's multicraft_daddy. And he actually just put out this video. Did you see this? Or he was actually like picked the winner, like spun the wheel and stuff and picked the winner, and he gave a bunch of PMI tape too. So
Dave,
if you DM multicraft_daddy with your email address, he's sending out gifts every single week. Multicraft has been around for 50 plus years, providing the industry with top brands at competitive pricing. You can mention the pod. That gets you 10% off your first order. They are there. They're a partner. They're very helpful to help you continue growing your business.
Bruce, guess where I will be when this episode airs?
Honduras.
I will be with the great folks at Graphic Source in Honduras. And that will be a really cool trip that we'll have to debrief after the fact. Graphic Source is an anchor at Campus Ink. They run our entire art department, a lot of our back office work. And if you need a solution to improve efficiency and reduce costs in your art department, you should absolutely hit them up. They offer industry-leading outsource options for your shop by truly becoming a part of your team. They plug and play with Printavo, other shop management softwares. And when it comes to SEPs, mockups, creative art, order management, embroidery, digitizing, back office admin, and customer service, there's no better company in our industry to work with. They have over 40 years in the game. They really get it. And they have a proven track record of success. They will literally outline how your screens should be burned and will know exactly what press you have. And they will make sure that all of your SEPs are beautiful. Use the code PrintavoPod24 for 50% off your first vector, SEP, or embroidery order. This time of the year, it's all about making sure you get on their list so that you can get a new artist in the new year. Hit them up. Thanks so much, Graphic Source.
Easy Way. Spending hours cleaning dirty screens is a thing of the past with Easy Way screen printing and screen cleaning chemicals. Their innovative formulas are designed to work quickly and effectively, so you could spend less time cleaning, more time creating. Campus Ink, big Easy Way shop as well. Alex and the team are super helpful. They're very passionate about all this stuff. I mean, they're manufacturing all kinds of really cool stuff. And they've got tons of really cool resources on easyway.com and advice to be able to help. So if you're stuck, reach out.
Thanks so much, Easy Way. Bruce, I want to tell you about the best new software platform to hit our industry. It's called DGI Apparel, and it was built by a group of MIT engineers that recently left Y Combinator, one of the largest tech accelerators in the world, to build a solution for the screen printing industry. DGI allows you to connect your accounts with Sanmar, Alphabroder, SNS, and more to compare prices. I think just last week, you can even buy PMI tape directly on there, and they're adding a ton of different apparel suppliers every week. The average shop spends 2 hours purchasing every day, and DGI will cut that time in half, and you won't need 2 computer screens, so half the amount of screens. Ask yourself, what would you do with an extra hour every day and an extra computer screen you don't have to use? And you know what's funny is they don't have a promo code for DGI because it's free. It's always going to be free. And that's right. It costs $0 forever. So if you're not already using DGI, you're wasting your own time and money. Sign up today at dgiapparel.com and join 1,500 other shops that are saving time and money on their purchasing. We use DGI every single day. And I tell you, it's pretty freaking sweet. So hit them up and tell them we sent you. Last but not least, we have BMac Industries and DTF Superstore. BMac Industries is a leader in innovative solutions for the DTF printing industry. They're dedicated to providing top-of-the-line equipment and technology that enhances productivity and quality. They have a commitment to excellence, and they continue to push the boundaries of what's possible in garment decoration. If you have a DTF printer, you should get a BMac dryer. Ours just got delivered a couple of weeks ago, and this thing is a tank. It's beautifully built here in the United States. And support DTF Superstore. They also are involved with things like dtfprinting.com. So thanks so much, DTF Superstore, for all your help and support. We just had a tech out to help us out, spent 2 days with us, trained our entire team. It was awesome. So thanks so much.
That's awesome. All right, let's jump on in.
Oh my
Look at
gosh.
Bruce. Yeah, he had to
Ackerman.
show us all up.
We're back. This is the second McGangbang podcast.
So I think that we got it wrong last year because you can't have, because it was called something like first annual, and it can't be the first annual if it's the first one. So it was like the inaugural. Is that how you say that?
That's how it said, yes.
Try again.
I know you're learning Spanish, but you should try to learn English first.
No, I'm just going to go straight to Spanish. I've had enough time, and English is way too hard. I'm going with the Spanish.
I get it.
Andy, how do you say without sugar?
Sin, like it's a sin. Azúcar. No, azúcar. Did I get it? I got it.
How do you say with sugar?
Cone.
My guy.
Yeah.
I'm learning it.
All right, folks, welcome back to the annual 2024 Shirtee Awards, hosted by none other than the two world's greatest, in fact, podcasts of our industry, Print Hustlers Podcast and Shirt Show Podcast. The one that goes 3 hours and the one that goes 45 minutes. We've got them here together to find a commonality in how long we're going to record today. But we've got some incredible categories again. We've switched some up from last year. If you've seen the one last time, we had a really great show. And I think this is actually the second time we recorded together. In 2 weeks? We had an amazing podcast with the SNS CEO, Frank Myers. You'll definitely want to check that out. I think that is the only interview he may have ever done. Welcome back, everybody. We're excited to have you. We've got Dylan, Andy, Steven, and myself. Should we just jump on in? Andy, you want to cue us up?
Okay. Well, let's kick it off with favorite episode.
We'll let Andy go.
Okay.
It's an age thing. I can go last. let your elders go first.
Mm-hmm.
I barely beat you out on that, so I guess it is. Yeah, that's fine. For me, this wasn't even close because this one I thought was really important and also timely, and that would be Lee Stewart 3. And it was an emo episode, and you know how emotional and sensitive I am. And we had some real talk on mental health, and I think that for some reason at that moment in our lives as shop owners, I think it was perfect timing because from the friend groups that we have, the feedback I got was, or that we were getting was that, was a struggle mentally. I don't know what it is, post-COVID, then combined with just burnout and whatever else. But, Lee had a post that he came out and talked about his struggle personally, and that's a really brave thing to do. It's a really hard thing to do, to be vulnerable. And we had him on to talk about that, and then we kind of pivoted over to, we turned to Chat GPT to give us some things you can do if you're experiencing burnout. And we kind of just went over them one by one. And I think that for me, I think that's just really important. So yeah, that would be my favorite episode.
Yeah, it's nice when we have ones like that are like connecting to people, not just about like random print knowledge stuff, but more like on a personal level that also is helping them continue to be good shop owners or, printers or managers or whatever they're doing.
I was excited for that episode because when Lee dropped that video, first, like my heart hurt for him. I'm like, wow, and then there's so many people out there struggling. And a lot of times we don't try to interview the same guests at the same time because, we want to help the industry out and not crush, the second best podcast. And so I was like, okay, Shirt Show's going to interview him. It's going to be freaking awesome. And just the way you all talked about these real problems, like it was special. I'm with you. That's super cool. All right, Dylan, what do you got?
I have a tie between the two Tony Palmers and the Dave Gardner episode because I love just hearing from these guys that have been doing it for, 30 plus years, and they have all this like, just tech tips and knowledge and, when this form of printing started and how and why. And I don't know, I just really like the getting in the weeds of the, technical print stuff. So those were two of my like most helpful episodes, I think, this year for me.
What was the one takeaway that you remember being, something in the weeds that you took back?
Well, Tony Palmer was really cool because he did a lot on like angles and pressures and all the stuff for wet on wet, which was kind of cool. I mean, we've all kind of done that, but it's nice to just get why you do it the way you do it, and ink stepping on each other and angles and everything. And that was all really cool. And Dave's always cool to hear because he basically invented, half the shit that we're dealing with today. So getting that from him is always really cool. Like the original story, like him telling basically that underbase, the word underbase is basically a joke, like an inside joke, is hilarious to me. That's like an industry term, and it's something that's complete bullshit. So
I also think it's
pretty
cool
awesome.
when we interview like legends of the industry. Like these are videos we'll hold on for generations of like, you guys got to interview Dave. Like there's some cool ones. Like we talked to Scott Fresner and like, I don't know. It's cool to hear from them. All right, I'm gonna go. Oh no, Bruce, you're older than me.
Well, sort of similar, I think, to Andy with Lee Stewart. We did an interview with Cole Ludstrom. I don't know if you listened to this one, but he shut down his shop. And, at first glance, it's not that big of a deal. Things happen. But the story behind it, I think, was what was really hit home. And I was very happy that he was able to share this because I do think it is a bit of a, it's an ego boost. That's hard to be able to share that out loud. So his business was doing, I think, 1.5, maybe 2 million a year in sales. And especially through COVID, after COVID, overhead really ballooned and kind of got caught in between. He was scaling up. I think there was 3 autos and really wanted to be able to handle bigger, long running jobs, which was tying up his more profitable jobs from being able to handle those. And he had a bad mix of work, really got his profit margin squeezed and ended up closing down the business and has been going through that routine to be able to shut it down in California. Again, I think that was another one, right? That's not covered generally. It's always, oh, how's your business doing? Good, good. It's like very surface level
Yeah.
chats when you catch up. But then when you really hear, actually, we're not doing so great. But here's what I'm pivoting to. I'm pivoting to fully outsourcing stuff. I'm pivoting to fully, really looking at each job and looking at the profit margin, whether to do it or not, how to reduce labor and be a lot more efficient. That was really cool around the lessons learned, but gosh, I can't imagine being able to share a story like that.
I love that episode. I listened to that. I remember on one of my walks, and it was kind of like so much of the shit he shared was like ringing true to, feel like a lot of printers, but me, where it's like, oh, well, should I take on this job or I'll grow when things are good. And then, things aren't good. And you try all these different, especially with him saying he was trying all these different like sales reps and stuff and trying to get things going where it wasn't just him doing sales all the time. And it just didn't work out. And I feel like that's the case so many of the times that it's just like, I'm sorry for what happened to him. And that, again, it's nice that he pivoted, but still it was like, oh, it makes you feel like, oh, cool. Like it's not, those things don't just happen to me. They happen to everybody. So it was really cool to hear his story.
Steven, your favorite episode of the year?
Well, you thought this was our second time recording this year. This is our actual third time as a group recording this year. Because the first time we recorded this year was on exiting.
Yeah, exit strategy.
Exit
I
planning,
understand
right.
with age, memory is the first to go. For me, I did not forget that episode. And we did this group episode on should you have an exit strategy, and it was a combo episode. And what was beautiful about it is we came at it from so many different angles of preparing for exit, when you're ready to exit, how to exit. And it, I think that has been a theme and something talked about in the industry this year is what's next, right? Like, do I have a plan for my business? How do I become liberated from my business a little bit? And I got tons of great feedback from it. And I think what was really cool is just the actionable things that shops could have taken from it, of making sure, you understand your profit margins and making sure the founder and the owner isn't super involved. And so I thought there was a lot of wisdom there. And why wouldn't my favorite episode be with you guys? So I'm
Aw.
gonna I'm gonna give you that
I
one.
appreciate that, Stephen, and I will share something with you and everyone right now, and that episode was super timely because I was considering an exit, and so I had a deal that was too good to pass up, and timing wise, me being the elder here, I thought that, well, maybe this is time for something new. And I had my lease that I had to renew, and I hadn't yet. And I thought that the person that was acquiring this shop was the perfect fit because the cultures would have meshed. It was like we had the same philosophy, business philosophy, I guess. And so I thought it would have been really the perfect, what'd you call it? Just merger. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it would have been perfect. But then something happened and it made the decision for me. And because I was like, I guess I was on the fence. It's this really hard decision. What are you going to do? Are you going to sell or not? So anyway, the decision was made for me, and I signed another 3-year lease. And honestly, I'm happy because now I'm looking at it on totally different terms.
I was
And
gonna
that
say you have
is like,
fresh eyes now.
yeah, it's like because I went through all of that. Now I have this sort of fresh start on what these next 3 years will look like. I can plan if I want to exit at the end of those 3 years or not, plenty of time. But one of the things on exit strategy on that episode we talked about is, should you sell? Like if a business is making money, should you ever sell it? Ever? That's a really interesting question, I think. And I now have perspective on that. And so, yeah, I loved that episode too. Thanks for reminding me. I'm so old. I totally forgot that we even did that.
I can make fun of Andy for that. No one
It
else
was
can.
years ago.
Because when Andy and I were on this trip that we were recently at, we went to the gym, we exercised, and he went under the bench press and was like, I haven't done this for years, and and he just pumped them out, and I was like, damn. So
Well,
Andy's a
I was
strong man
inspired by
too.
you, and you were a good spot there. I felt like you had me. If anything went wrong, you would save my life.
I would not have
So
let you go there.
you gave me strength, Stephen. You gave me
I'm
strength.
just picturing Steven, yeah, you spotting Andy and not being able to lift the weight off.
Watch
That's
him
why
die.
Andy
Watch
didn't
him
make the
get
next
suffocated by the
episode.
bar.
All right, next category.
I'm
Most
gonna MC this one.
memorable
Yeah.
You're gonna do it?
moment.
All right,
I was gonna
Dylan.
say most memorable moment, and the reason why I wanted to do it is because I don't know if I have one. Like I couldn't think of something this year that I was
You have
like,
nothing memorable?
this super stands out. I've had
When
a
I-
really chill year.
I didn't
mean,
mount you this year at Print Hustlers, did I?
That's true. That's
That was
why it
20. That
wasn't.
was last year.
Yeah, I didn't stick with me.
Who should we worry about here? Honestly, I don't
Definitely
know.
me. That's the worst. That's why I
My
posted
guy.
that.
All right, Farag, kick us off then while Dylan makes something up.
Okay. Well, Andy and I, so I'm going to give a 1.5 answer, but I think we have to talk about this later. Andy and I just went on one of the coolest trips with Graphic Source in Honduras with, the crew there. And it was one of the most special trips I think I've ever been on. But a very distinct memory that I have in our industry is our text thread group. We went on a quick retreat to Arizona with no agenda, no plan. But one thing that we did do as a group is we went on a hike together. And it was just special because it was a Monday morning in Arizona. We don't look like hikers by any means. And we just went out there in nature and we just like, it was like peaceful. We were having some nice conversation. We stopped at a certain point and Justin shared a few nice words. And it just felt like
We got bracelets.
we got bracelets. Yeah, Andy made us. Yeah, we got bracelets, and it was like at that moment, it was like you're not alone. Like you have this tribe around you of coworkers and other people dealing with the same things you are. And again, me being the youngest one there, I just felt like so fortunate that I'm like, wow, I have talked to these people every day of my life for the last, 3, 4 years. We met over the internet. We've hung out at trade shows, but for us to, travel together and on a Monday morning go on this beautiful hike, just showed like how special the industry is. So that was my distinct memory of the year.
I think I would agree with you. Only you on that trip, I think you're forgetting about the hypnotist, and that was probably more
That's
memorable
that's
than
probably
the
why I
hike.
can't think of anything because he hypnotized me.
What was I thinking?
He got me.
Sleep.
I'm just now realizing.
I was asleep.
You
I
already are.
forgot.
Yeah, okay. Forgiven.
Oops. For those
Bruce.
that don't know, I hired a hypnotist. It didn't go well. Another day, another
It
story.
was so good.
It was a C
awesome.
tier. Supposedly he was a C tier. I wasn't there, but is budget friendly hypnotist.
Yes.
I would say the highlight I think was Made Lab hosting the Print Hustlers conference. I think like still have a little PTSD of actually planning it, so I get like very I don't know. And then when I'm there, it's just wow to be able to experience that, and also just to see kind of like with you guys with the Mild Boys Retreat, just to see you guys in person, to see other shops in person that we spend a lot of time with, and get food and hang out. Specifically, I really enjoyed Alex the Economist's presentation. I think I gravitate towards a lot of more data-based and chart-based presentations. And his whole premise, especially right before the election, of you really should challenge any type of news that you just see, as they just really want to, gravitate and dramatize everything. You really have to challenge the actual information behind it. And I want to be able to show you how to do that here. And he went through all of this really cool data about the economy and related it to small business ownership and how things generally aren't as bad as they seem. I think was really powerful. And then the last quote he said was, operate your business as if you will sell it. And that was never necessarily a thought of mine for Printavo for the longest time. But I will say that that does help make better decisions around, maybe the right people or getting the right team around you, or what you're spending time doing. And that hit home. So I really enjoyed that. Andy, what do you think?
Well, I didn't get to go to Print Hustlers for the second year in a row, but I did see him at ThreadX in wherever we were, Utah somewhere. And I don't know if it was the same presentation, but he
Similar, yes, yeah, but updated supposedly.
Yeah, so I was also impressed. He was the best speaker at ThreadX, I thought. My favorite, what is it? Most memorable moment. I selfishly thought about and focused, like framed it about Shirkong. And for me, that was pretty easy because it was really fun. Is that we hot market printed for the Chiefs when they won the Super Bowl for the second year in a row, and maybe we'll be doing the same thing. We've already negotiated and we're ready to go for this next playoff run. I was actually in California and flew back specifically for the Super Bowl because when they won the championship and I knew they were going to be the Super Bowl, I had 2 weeks, and so we cut our trip short and I came back, and then they won, and so we printed again until this time though, because we had printed the year previous, we took on a little less because we realized that after 3 a.m., it's not fun anymore. It becomes, in fact, the opposite of wherever that it's awful. And so we decided to be done around 3, and that's what we told them. The same thing this year is, so 2 presses. We start when the game's over, and we estimated it. We'll print as many this amount of quantity until 3 a.m. So yeah, we'll do it again. We'll see. That was my most memorable moment.
What do you do specifically during that? Are you printing?
I sleep, right? I don't do anything. Yeah.
He's like, good job, guys. Call me when it's done.
It's Wow. So this year, so when my back was still, I was 3 months, almost 3 months out of surgery. And so I couldn't do too many physical things, although you know how we're all the same, I'm sure. And that is, it's killing me not to be in there doing it. And so I ended up pallet jacking shirts around and stuff like a moron. I just popped a bunch of Advil and kind of supported the finishing end of things because man, I don't know. It was fun. Yeah. So that's what I did.
And to reiterate on
Trenches.
my thing with the most memorable moment is like I feel like this whole year for me has kind of been I wanted to take a step back and kind of have more of a chill year and like more figure out personal stuff and kind of take a little bit of a break. So I didn't really have anything that was industry that like super stood out to me. But like Steven said, like that retreat with those guys was awesome. Like it was great to get away. And I got to take an like I never thought I wanted to do a cruise. I was like, I never want to get on the water. I'm scared of the ocean. That's where aliens live. Um, and Christina was like, hey, let's do this thing. We went on this adults only cruise to Mexico, and it was just so good. It was like a week of just like chill. We went and saw like Mayan temples, and like that for me was like a highlight of the year. But I mean, it's not like an industry thing, but I just had a year of like, hey, like reset, chill, figure it out. And I'm really hoping with the economist and stuff that he says that 25 is going to be the like hopefully come back. So then I'll be
It's
more
awesome.
industry. Let's see how this goes.
Who knew Dylan was a cruise ship guy?
I am now.
What I'm just curious, actually, on the reset aspect. Was there anything else that made you feel more relaxed running upstate, or what?
I think it's
Taking a
just like
vacation definitely forces it,
I
but
think it's just like a universe thing. Like, Andy always says like the universe is making me do this kind of thing. But it's like, for most shops, it was kind of a flat year. Like if you're just a screen printer doing your normal thing and whatever, it was kind of a flat year all around. So it gave me opportunity to um, really look into the shop and be like, what do we need to do going forward? Like everything's good. I'm just saying like it was looking into new things like outbound and all this other stuff. But also I kind of wanted to, it gave me the opportunity to be like, all right, well, I don't have to be as like crazy on it. I can kind of step back a little bit, take a couple vacations or, look into my personal life and kind of tweak things and relax and reorganize and all this other stuff. So it was kind of nice. Like I said, I'm happy that this year I don't want to say happy the way business went necessarily, but I'm happy that everything's good and running strong and 2025 is good and we're all set and ready to go.
Cheers. I'm happy for you.
yeah, likewise. All right, Dylan, I know you got to kick us off with this one because you're going to have a good one, I'm sure. Shops to watch, our third category, shops to watch for. What do you think?
I kind of struggled with this a little bit because there's a few that I really like and follow, but I think one of the ones that I'm seeing have strong growth and have like good marketing and everything is the boys at Relentless Merch. Uh, Nate and Matt, like they're doing awesome things, and they started a hat company, and they're printing some really rad stuff. And Nate's really good at marketing and all of those things. And they're a shop that I like to look at a lot. And me and Matt are good friends, and it's nice to chat with him and see what they're doing and bounce ideas back and forth. So I don't know. I like what they're doing. They're a great shop.
They're on my list to stop by next time. We did a road trip from California to Chicago and did not know they were in Lincoln, Nebraska. But that would have been the highlight because there was not a ton going on in Nebraska
Yeah.
for next time. Steven,
All right.
who's your shop to watch?
It's going to come out of left field. Family Industries. So I was at the U.S. Open in New York at a like a tennis event, and sure enough, there's merch, and sure enough, it's Family Industries, and they are heat pressing tennis balls. Wild. Some of the stuff that they do is they figure out how to decorate and customize some of the most complicated shit I have ever imagined. And now, whenever I go to an event, it's really just oh, Family Industries is here. Family Industries is here. It's Lollapalooza. It's this. It's that.
It's what makes
And
them the
it's
best.
and it's not like they're just printing T-shirts. Rarely do you see shirts there. It's like they're sewing on patches. They are doing gold letter pressing on wallets. Like they have thought about the industry completely different. And I think there's beauty in that they're like former touring musicians and the way they run it across the country. Um, I feel like it's this sleeper company that's like blowing up and they're just like flying under the radar a little bit. But it's every time I talk to Max and like the stuff they're doing is just next level every single time. And they just continue to impress me. And I just think the guys there are super, super cool. So Family Industries.
I can I piggyback on that, and I'm gonna go with I've got a tie, so I have two that are my shop to watches, and the first one is going to be Family Industries. Dylan and I had the opportunity to tour his shop. What was it like in August or September, something like this year, just a few months ago, and we saw the R&D space where they tried things like tennis balls or whatever. They had all sorts of shit that they were like, hey, we're going to try and decorate this. Does it work? Does it wash out? How do we even make it work? You know, and
Which is
so
super cool because it's kind of like what shop do you go into that just has a dedicated R&D department to be like, what's the
yeah.
next cool thing we can print on? So like it was awesome to see that.
And my tie, the other shop to watch, and it's a repeat for me from last year, and that would be Campus Ink. And I'm not kissing butt or blowing smoke, but Stephen, what you've got going on is also a little bit under the radar because you're so humble. You don't really discuss it much, but the team you've built, the momentum you have, um, you're disrupting the entire, what would you call it, bookstore, college, spirit wear industry with your, and I don't know if I can say this or not. I don't know if it's fully
Sure.
rolled out,
You
but
can.
the on-demand DTF college bookstore experience that you're building out is going to take over the world. So
Thank you.
I love it. And I think that, I don't know if you want to share a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we have a solution in NIL. You have to support all sports, all athletes, so hundreds of athletes. And so for us to sell those to bookstores, we couldn't sell finished goods because those players transfer and quit and whatever. And so instead, we sold them the solution where they get a heat press that's pneumatic. They get this cubby system that stores all of the transfers for every athlete, and then this kiosk where fans can go up, pick their player, order, and they'll make it right there. And then we can auto replenish them on the back end and just send them more transfers, send them more shirts. And that was our way of trying to help, take what we built in our, four walls and kind of give it to the bookstores and say, okay, now you can do this, so you're not stuck with inventory and stuff. So we are live at 10 schools, and it is growing, and it's quite the experience. But thank you, Andy. I appreciate it.
So we've got Relentless, we've got Campus Inc., Family Industries. I'm going to say Real Thread. We've talked about Real Thread, I think, a few times as it's ran by a guy named Drew Dalton. And he's just such a sharp operator. I mean, he acquired another shop, Trust Print Shop, which we had on too, and Matt, the owner, going through that experience. And so that's how he's been expanding. But gosh, I mean, Drew learned Salesforce himself to be able to implement it. He's got this beautiful dashboard in his office that when you talk to him, you could see all these real-time analytics of the business, the branding and the experience of the website and the social, and everything is so tied together. It's really, really exciting to watch. And I think it just differentiates them so much more. So I think the experiment will be, which I enjoy watching, is, can you build a larger organization profitably through acquisition like that? And so time will tell, do you pass your sweet spot, or do they nail it on the head? And I don't know if he's plans on selling or just cash flowing very well and continuing to operate it. So Real Ted's my pick.
Yeah, they've been a good one on the radar for a long time, especially with like all the water-based printing and everything that they do.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Drew is actively acquiring more shops, right? If I'm not, maybe I don't know if that's still current or not, but it's going to
Yeah.
be cool to see if he can successfully roll different shops up into the Real Thread ecosystem. So super cool.
Next.
Biggest story of the year. Andy, what's your largest, most crazy, amazing story other than you being shirtless to this episode for our audio listeners only?
For me, I don't know how it can be anything else than SNS buying Alfred Broder. I mean, it's that's massive. It's a massive deal. We did obviously we did a collab episode on it. It was so big, and it was probably the most talked about, I would say, event of the year, you know, in our industry. I mean, I think did we hear about it when we were in Salt Lake at the or did we know right before? I feel like it was right then that
Like a month
they
before.
sent out that email. It was right around then, and you know, a lot of people have concerned about it, or still do. They have concerns about it because of such a giant in the industry, and you know, but I look at it like as it's going to benefit us. I'm trying to be optimistic about it, and so certainly am more so after we talked to Frank. So I think that as far as news stories go, that's the biggest one.
You know, Farag on the same. I agree. I think these conversations with the Billy Club, you know, companies are, it feels like you get to peek behind the curtain a little bit and see how someone like that runs their business and what they think about and what they care about. And they absolutely have commonalities that we all share and what they worry about. But gosh, I mean, from, you know, Chris Blakesley at Bell on Canvas, talked to Alan Saltonstall from Printful this year, and now Frank. We're collecting our Billy Club CEOs slowly but surely.
Billy Club.
The Billy Club.
I've never heard that before. I like it.
Billy Club CEOs.
Dylan, are you a part of the Billy Club? You're the Dilly. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
the
The
Billy
Billy Club,
Club.
it's a totally
Billy
separate
Club.
thing. It's,
Yeah.
it's X-rated. It's not really for
I
public.
mean, when you talk to Frank or Chris Blakesley or Alex, they just see things so differently, but yet they are like the captain of a cruise ship. And I it was so cool to talk to Frank and also see that like he flies under the radar. He's not on socials, he's not on LinkedIn. He's like in the weeds, working on hard, like solving really hard problems every single day. And I'm excited for SNS. I think it's just part of their story that's going to make it so special. So yeah, I think without a doubt.
Can you imagine too, these guys that go, you know, when you ask someone like Frank or like Chris about something very in the weeds, like, oh, well, where do you guys manufacture? And they'll go down, way down to the weeds, and then they'll come way back up to the high strategy problems. It's like, wow, that's even just stressful now. I can't imagine with thousands of people and you know, products, SKUs, and all the other day-to-day stuff that they work through.
I'm going to go with the UAP congressional hearings about how aliens are here and they live in our oceans. You guys can talk business all you want, but fucking aliens are here and we have bodies and shit. So
Is that the New Jersey thing?
no, that's separate.
Oh,
This was a little while ago. They had all the, you know, the whistleblowers that worked in all these government agencies all had the congressional hearings, and they basically were like, this is what we know. And it's pretty fucking wild if you're into that kind of thing.
And we brought our expert Dylan here.
Yeah, so I mean, I
from the Dilly Club.
we got a whole podcast on Dilly Club about it if you guys want to tune in. But that's my highlight.
All right. We are going to talk about our blank of the year, so favorite blank, and we're going to let Andy kick us off.
Oh,
Andy.
Oh, well, thank you so much. This blank means a lot to me. It is a go-to. It has so many color options. It has a lot of inventory. You can always get and find what you're looking for.
G500.
It's a tried and true.
G2000.
Oh, well, that is close, but the 5001, I went and looked up our Look, I was having trouble making a decision, and so I just went to the proof is in the pudding. What did we sell the most of? And gosh darn it, the G500. We sold 10.9% of everything we sold. So 1 out of 10. Yeah, for every 10 shirts, this isn't making sense. That doesn't sound so big.
We sold one.
You've heard that many times, Andy.
All right, so the G500, it's a great shirt. Why? I think it's kind of making a comeback. Like for the longest time, people wanted the thinner shirt or the athletic fit or whatever, but no, they want the boxy, they want the thicker, they want the G500, and 11% of all of our sales went to that shirt. Number 2, Bella Canvas, 3001 CVC, and then the 3001 regular. If you were to add both the 3001 CVC and then the 3001 regular together, it would have edged out the 500, but I wanted it to be the 500. Yeah,
Good
so
man.
it won.
Dylan, what do you got?
Well, I asked the team, and I think the thing that we've been kind of switching and pivoting to for just price point and softness and liking a lot is the Gildan Soft Style hoodie, the SF 500. That's been kind of a highlight, especially in this season. A lot of people have been picking that one, so I like it. I think it's sweet.
I'm gonna have to check
And
it
I
out.
think
I don't know about it. I don't know
It's
enough
just
about it.
it's an upgrade from the 18.5. It's just like a little
Hmm.
nicer, and like
Okay.
the strings are a little nicer too.
For a lot of the
Hmm.
people, like the comedians and all these other people that want to get a good price point hoodie, but they want, something nice. It's definitely like we're almost skipping the 18.5 now and just doing the SF 500.
SF.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna keep going on that, and I couldn't necessarily. Well, my favorite blank this year is the American Apparel 1301 or 1301 garment dyed, and American Apparel has made a comeback. And what's really interesting is Dylan and I were on the board of decorators with Gildan, and we got to go down to Honduras and meet with their product team. And we got to see them planning it like 2 years in advance, and they could field all of our complaints. And Dylan talked a lot about comfort colors and being able to tear out a label. And I said it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And the line of American Apparel products is they've done a beautiful job with them. And so I think they're back on the map. I think they've done a great job marketing it, positioning the product. The price point is great. And so I'm giving the 1301 my favorite for this year.
Stephen, when you talk about, tearaway labels are coming, is that literally also like a 2-year, some crazy planning to be able to? I mean, I'm
Well,
assuming it's a big supply chain switch. Or
yeah,
they have a lot of
our
stock
complaint
and-
was like, can the comfort colors tag be torn away? And it was like, no, that's comfort colors. Like that's not a tear away. But we're coming out with a garment dyed thicker shirt that's comparable a little bit. And it was just cool to see like, the inception of it and then them actually start to like carry it out and push it, which I thought was really, really cool. So yeah, I'm sure it takes years to get that stuff going. So yeah.
Crazy cool. I really enjoy for my own selfish pick, the AS color. They've got this heavy faded kind of boxy tee, the 5082. I think majority of my closet is now AS color, and that one is specifically, it can be warm for me, but also, has a t-shirt look too. And I think it's kind of stylish, but then again, I'm the only one wearing a suit here. So
It's the only
You're in the Billy Club, so I mean, it's kind of
yeah, it's the only login Bruce still has because he's been banned from my SNS account. So just kidding. Don't change addresses. Thank you. But do you guys know AS Color sells pants? I have a bunch of their pants. I wear their jeans every day.
They have a ton of stuff.
Really?
They have, like bags. And
I don't
Is it
think
really
they
nice?
Shorts.
don't sell denim jeans anymore, but like last year I ordered a bunch, and then this year I've ordered some stuff because I don't know if you know this, but skinny jeans are out. Can't wear. It's all about baggy. And AS
Nope.
Color, you can go on there and you don't have to worry about it, and you can order some stuff for yourself. But I just love that they have like just slightly different pieces. So
I'm just picturing Steven in Janko jeans right now.
some Lee pipes.
yeah, with the chain,
With the
hanging
chain.
down with the wallet.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right.
All right, best product of the year. what do we have? I know we're going to have some interesting new products to be able to share. Andy, kick us off.
Okay, wow.
Andy,
So
anytime.
last year I went with a piece of equipment. This year I went with software. And that is going to be, DGI. The guys over at DGI came up with, if not already, what will be the most valued software company in our industry. Sorry, Bruce. But
Ooh,
I think that, I think that, I mean, I wish I would have came up with this idea, but I didn't. And they're going to figure out how to monetize this, and they're going to crush. And the reason why I know this is because they are being sued, and that means that they're doing something right. I don't know if I can share
Who are
that,
they being
but
sued by?
are they being sued or is there a lawsuit?
what's the difference?
I don't know. I don't know the difference. Haven't been sued yet.
I don't know. I think that they're making a lot of people nervous, and good for them. So cheers, guys. Keep doing you. Product of the year.
And who else picked them? Just so we can make Ian feel. Ian's going to be watching this, and you might have to call a doctor for him in 4 hours. But Ian's going to be all over this. Bruce, do you have him too?
Yeah, I picked DGI, which is funny just because we're not sharing notes on here. But the reason is I have personally coded and tried to integrate with distributors to pull things like pricing, inventory, placing orders. And it is very difficult. I mean, the amount of data that you have to get and then clean because of the different characters and mistakes and things that are constantly changing, it is no easy task. So from a product and engineering perspective, to be able to do that and execute and being so fast to use, really impressive.
And really cool dudes too.
I think a company that goes against the grain is always my favorite. The disruptors, the shit stirrers. I think the coolest part about DGI is Ian's got his phone number on the website. It's like, text me, and I'm just going to get in the weeds with you and learn it. And for someone that joined the industry literally like 8 or 9 months ago, they have absolutely like made a statement and will continue making it. And for the company that decided to do that and I don't know, sue them or put a lawsuit on, like, I hope DGI can frame that as, when that happens, you're doing something right.
Yeah, real quick, I just got an email, or not just, but about a week ago, I got an email from Ian saying, can I buy shirts for you? So they want to use us as a beta, and I'm sure other people got this email too. They probably have 10 or 20 or whatever, but they want to do all of our purchasing. And so I pay somebody, a shipping and receiving manager, to do our purchasing, and she does a great job. But sometimes it's overwhelming, and she needs to just be shipping and receiving and not being the buyer. And he wants to do this for a certain amount of money a month, and it's not a lot. It's like a few dollars a day. And I'm sure he's not going to do it like personally. He's got an automation. They've got it all figured out. It's like a robot, and they're going to just buy shirts for us. Probably the cheapest shirt and the closest shirt, fewest shipping, all this stuff. And it's going to show up here, and we're not going to even touch it. And so that's what they're building. And so that's why they're going to be the
graphic
valued,
source, but for purchasing.
Like Scott was texting us about it, and they said you drop a PDF in and it knows all your rules and adds everything to the cart for you.
Amazing.
Amazing. I meet with them later today to talk about it, so I'm pumped.
Well, sorry, DGI, but I didn't pick you for product of the year.
I actually didn't either, but Dylan, you go first. Can't give them 75%.
The biggest thing, I mean, DJI is great. Again, nothing for them, but my pick as far as our shop and other shops I've talked to is print grip or pallet gel. It's been huge for us in our shop. The printers love it. No more spraying anything, no more aerosols in the shop. It's been great for hoodies. It's great for tees. It just makes a world of difference on our presses. I know there's shops. It's kind of like shops that are like, oh, I don't use the Tri-Lock because I'm faster, better, whatever. And then there's people that are like swear by it. I feel like it's the same kind of thing where some printers love it, some printers refuse to use it. But for us in general, I think it's been awesome.
And I think the people behind it. So my pick was the PMI palette gel. And I think that comes with like Andrew and his dad and the team there because, they've sold tape and they have mastered it. And their facility is like beautiful in the way that they're going to do it. And so I'm just excited that they're starting to invent new things. Like they're getting in the weeds and kind of and doing something. And then, they're like, hey, here you go. Tell us what you think of it. And my printers are obsessed with it. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a game changer for sure.
The awesome thing with the PMI and doing theirs is it's not only are they like, okay, we have a sticky substrate that goes on the palette. They're like, oh, well, let's make it change color when the palettes are at temp, or they're trying to not only come out with the product, but like level up like how it works and how it operates. So, those guys are always
And you
great.
can
But
buy it on DJI now, which is cool. You can buy PMI tape on DJI. All right.
Person of the year, Dylan. You want to continue with your favorite person of the year?
for me personally, someone who is sharing knowledge that I actually feel is useful and helpful, I would go with John McGee, traveling screen printer on Instagram. John has been sharing almost daily, like different style prints, different techniques. He's also sharing like infographics of how to print certain things. I just think it's super, stuff like that is what, you know, tickles my heart, I guess, to be interested in trying new things and screen printing in general. So, John McGee is my pick.
John McGee shouts out. It's at Traveling Screen Printer
Yep.
on
I
Instagram.
think it's traveling_screen printer on Instagram, I think.
Love it. Andy, what do you have for person of the year?
So this is just the person of the year for me. And I have a feeling he's the person of the year for pretty much almost everyone. Nick Wood. Because Nick is your friend. Nick is your cheerleader. Nick makes you feel good when you don't. Nick checks in on you when you are feeling alone. Nick always has something nice to say. Nick helps you basically when you need it the most. And he helped me when I needed it the most. And so, Nick, I love you. And, cheers to you, buddy. You're fucking awesome.
Great man. Yeah. He's like a natural antidepressant.
Yeah. Yeah. Good way to put it.
I like that. Steven, what do you think about Nick Wood?
Fucking love Nick Wood. What is there to love about
everything
Nick
you said?
Wood?
Everything you said is very true.
And Nick, in his thoughtfulness, invited Andy and I to go on this trip and just made everything so awesome for us. And it just goes to show like his heart. He puts his heart out there for you, and like he's an incredible, incredible human being. Aside from being awesome at graphic source. All right, Bruce, who do you got?
For me, it's what I talked about before. I kind of expand on that, which is Cole Ludstrom from previously Shirt Agency. Again, just to be able to share openly the ups and downs, specifically even more of the downs and some of the lessons learned from running and closing his business takes balls. Just to be able to be not even just openly share it in a small group or a text thread, but to share it with, that episode had 6,000 plus views. So, there's a lot of people that were listening to that. So hats off to you, Cole. I really appreciate that. And I think you helped a lot of people as well with that.
We love you, Cole.
All right, Steven.
Okay.
What else do you have to say about Nick Wood? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead with your person of the year.
I'm going to give it a two-part because there's a personal and then I think there's an industry. On the industry front, it's Ian at DJI Apparel. Ian and I started talking on Facebook 2 days before DTF Expo. And similar to how Bruce, you and I started chatting, we're talking. And I said, are you going to DTF Expo? And he's like, what's that? And I sent him the link. And next thing you know, he texts me, he goes, I'll see you there. And so I'm like, okay, great. What did I get myself into? I'm going to have to hang out with this loser for a whole weekend that's coding all this stuff. And he's from MIT. And there's a run in the morning. I think it's like the Unite Together run that they do at different conferences. And so I went to run and there were like four of us. There was like Adrian, Tom Rowan, me, one other shop. And sure enough, there's Ian. And I'm like, hey, you came to the first event. And we ran a 5K together. But what I love is, like he he truly engulfs himself into the industry and did it so quickly and so beautifully, and not in a way that was like spammy, but in a way that was like like he just became friends with everyone. And you can have an amazing product, but if you don't have an amazing founder behind it that truly listens to everyone and literally puts his cell phone number on there and texts, like that's I think what makes the DGI product so special is Ian's done that. For me personally, I'm gonna actually give this to Justin Lawrence, who has turned into like a big brother to me in the industry, industry bestie, and it's because he's like always kind of looking out for me. He's always got my back. If I'm having a hard time, I can chat with him. And I don't have any older siblings, sorry, I don't have any older brothers. I have two older sisters, and I truly feel like Justin has turned into an older brother to me. And so it's cool to see him as a father, and things he does with all of his other businesses and the lessons learned and some of the conversations. If you ever get the privilege of having a one-on-one talk with Justin Lawrence, you're just going to learn about the depth that he brings to a relationship and a friendship. And so I'm going to give him that for the year. So thanks, Justin.
No, you're a great guy.
That is huge. Stephen, gonna ping pong back to you for the best business lesson of the year, something I think we love obsessing over. It was hard to pick one, but what do you got?
So on the podcast this year, I've been talking a lot about getting out of your shop. And because of geography, I am forced to be out of my shop. My shop is 2 hours south of where I live. I have a house down in Champaign and up in Chicago, and I ping pong between the two. And for the last, I don't know, half decade, I would drive, Monday morning, drive 130 miles. I'd drive back and forth just to be like a superhero because I wanted to be everywhere all the time and make sure I was there. And, this year, it's been about loosening your grip, right? Like a good golfer that wants to take a nice swing, or if you're learning a new instrument, you want to loosen your grip, trust others, and empower them to lead, because you don't necessarily need to be the superhero everywhere. And when you loosen your grip a little bit and you let others, make their own mistakes and you empower them, your life drastically gets better. You don't burn out as much, and you can lift others up in the process, and your business can really grow. And so while Andy says Campus Inc. is the shop to look out for in this new year, it's because, I have actually taken almost a little bit more of a back seat and just let others, take the business to new heights. So that is my lesson of the year.
I love that. Loosen the grip. Beautiful.
I just got interrupted. I missed the beginning, Stephen, of what you were saying, because Sarah opened my door and said, "There's a door dasher here that's dropping off stuff from Stephen."
The McRib is back.
So hey, thanks for the snacks.
Yeah, we got
Mid-episode.
We got White Castle. All right.
You got diarrhea, is what you got.
I didn't, Kyle. Other people did.
There's very few options in upstate New York.
Thank you, Stephen. Love you. Appreciate it.
Dylan, what's your favorite business lesson or lessons of the year?
Here we are at 15 plus years in with Upstate, and my first 5 to 8 years was nothing but outbound and reaching out and trying to get customers. And then from year 8 to basically 15 was just coming in and answering emails of word of mouth and so on, and just being busy every day with reoccurring customers and whatnot. And then these last couple of years have really been like, hey, we should try to do outbound more. And then this year was a big push into technology and scripts. And, we worked with Kevin for a little while, putting all those things into place. I had, talked to Stephen a little bit about automations.io, all these different things. I feel like my lesson is to never stop doing outbound. Like, don't do it and then ride it for a while. I think you should just, even if it's a little bit every day, you should just always be doing it. So my lesson is,
wow, that's cool.
Constantly do outbound.
Dr. Bruce.
My perspective is a little bit different, having been able to step out of the day-to-day with new, ownership and leadership over Printavo and the Inktavo brand and everything. I like having the time to, I think we called it before, stare at the wall and just like think without constantly racing. And there's a few things that I picked from that experience. So one was Sean Peary, who runs the podcast My First Million, said, "Show me your calendar, I'll show you your priorities." And I think there was a to-do list of things that I always wanted to do. And, I try to put the most important up front, but never really get to those because I try to then fill it up with the little stuff first. And my calendar didn't reflect as many of the big business moving priorities that should have been on there. The other one was when feeling more stuck, if I hired a CEO, what would their decisions be? So sort of thinking about my role from outside of me and what would those decisions, what would they make right now? That really helped put some of the execution or tactical stuff in perspective and what should be most important and to do today versus next year or whatever. A conversation we had just all over around contribution margin and that whole methodology. I think anything that helps people be more profitable, so contribution margin methodology or profit first methodology, anything to help us be better on the finance side and accounting side and run a more profitable business. And the last thing is that got more public this year, which was Elon, was always pushing this question of what did you get done this week? Day to day can be kind of volatile, but at the end of the week, what did you get done this week? As our weeks kind of tend to get passed by. Like it's easy for weeks and weeks and weeks to go by just putting out fires and just operationally trying to get things out the door. But did you start your day with the most important thing, or did you sort of shuffle email and then chit chat with this and then go to this meeting? What did you get done this week? So those are my 4.
I feel like
Andy?
that the calendar thing hits me pretty hard. Like
Me too.
How so?
I just like my day to day, I come in every morning with like, this is my plan. Like it's always in my mind of like, these are the big picture things I want to tackle. But as soon as I get here, I have an inbox full of stuff that's little things or putting out fires or answering a little question. And then by the time I get through those things, I have things that happened in that time frame from when I was doing those things that I do. And then at the end of the day, I might get to slightly dabble into the big picture project I actually wanted to do for the day. And I feel like that is the thing that I struggle with the most is like being like, no, fuck this other stuff. I'm going to focus on this thing today and get it done. And I really need to work on that for 2025. I need to just be like, nope, I'm doing this. You guys can do the rest. Like I can't be, if I need to grow in a certain way, I need to just sit down and do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like you said, you put things on your calendar, and some of them can be very important, even not related to business, but family stuff. And then that's on your calendar, and it should be a priority. It should, if I'm doing this at 10 o'clock, I should do this at 10 o'clock. But instead, what happens is you get into the shop, and then something unpredictable is happening, and you do that instead because maybe you have to put out a fire or whatever that is. And then the thing on your calendar is ignored, and that's bad because that's important and you should not ignore that thing. Otherwise, why is it on your calendar? And so, I think that, I think too often, we as business owners and shop owners, we sacrifice for the shop, and that actually hurts maybe our personal lives and I don't mean relationships, but also just things that, maybe you had a Taekwondo lesson or something, or a surf lesson or whatever that is, a piano lesson, Stephen. And then you didn't go do that because you're trying to put out a fire at your shop, and that's terrible. I did that too many times. I'm not doing that anymore. And so, yeah, I like to prioritize your calendar is hard because, you want your shop to succeed, and you'll do anything to make it succeed, except you're ignoring some more important things. And so anyway, that leads perfectly, I think, into my lesson of the year, and that is that nothing lasts forever. A t-shirt doesn't, a screen doesn't, equipment doesn't, your team doesn't, your customers don't, relationships don't, life doesn't. So the lesson here is this: appreciate and be grateful for the things you cherish and love, but don't ignore yourself. Always work on you. Learn how to play the piano, read a book, go to the gym, learn Spanish. I love it, by the way. Because why? Because you are not your shop. That's my lesson of the year.
That's a clippable.
That was beautiful.
clippable offense right there.
Get kicked in the nuts
Thank
enough
you.
times, you'll change.
I don't think you can drop your mic because it's on that, but Andy, I think this year has been just interesting for everyone. And one of the coolest things that I've seen in our industry is the amount of vulnerability and willingness to ask for help and speak up and recognize that, we're all kind of alone together trying to figure it out, but that wisdom should be on a poster in every shop, because that's just is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Good
All
job.
right. What to bet on in 2025?
Our final.
You can't
category.
say Costco, Andy.
It's on here. Sorry. It's my, I have two things. I have two things. You want me to go first?
Well,
I can.
We'll let you go first. I guessed that. He didn't write that down, by the way. Go ahead.
So
Costco stock.
why Costco is there? Because always bet on Costco, because it's the one thing that does last forever. I was wrong. Costco lasts forever. So my what to bet
This
on in
is not
2025?
financial advice either. Can we asterisk this before we get
Costco's a buy.
All
Lizzie, you're a
in.
buy.
It's a buy. All
Rotisserie
in.
chickens, a buy.
For me, it's more consolidations, and I'm thinking it's happening. It's coming from different sectors. Of course, we just heard about the big Primco one, and I think it's going to start to trickle, or I don't know about trickle is the right word, but start to become a thing in equipment manufacturers. And so we will see who acquires who, and if those presses stay or go or become a different color or what. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it's inevitable. It has to happen, and it's going to be happening in 2025. Consolidations, equipment manufacturers.
Yep. My
Do you
turn.
have a prediction of one?
No.
There's not too many to pick from. When all the colors mix together, they make brown. Don't buy that. I'm gonna keep going off that. I had consolidations as well, but on the shop level. I think more and more shops are going to be thinking about putting their heads together, about thinking about merging, partnering up. I think shops that have been at it for a long time are going to realize, I've turned this into a job for myself. It's not necessarily a lifestyle that I want, and I'm ready to, attach my cart to someone else's and see if this will, fulfill me a little bit. And so I think we will see. We started to see it this past year. Andy, you talked about it. We talked about, real threads. I think more and more shops this year will consolidate.
I put the thought of what Stephen and I have been terming as peak business ownership. So what we are really trying to push and watch to see who has been able to hit there is peak business ownership, which Andy, you've talked a little bit about. We talked about that there's two factors to being a peak business owner. Number one is enough net income to more than cover your lifestyle and your expenses. And, you just feel really good. You feel really financially stable and your business is spinning off a good amount of cash. And then two, you also talked about, which is your time. Are you able to take a cruise with Dylan? Are you able to go home and take, your tennis lessons or do the things that you want to be able to do and work on the business when you are passionate about it and not have to be physically there constantly, day in and day out till 3 a.m. So that is what is my bet for 2025. And I'm excited to see more shops hit that.
I think for me, shop-wise, it's going to be more automations with DTF, turning autos into basically DTF presses, making that whole process faster, bringing DTF in-house or outsourcing it, but making the production in the shop faster. That's one thing that we're doing. We're turning a press right now into basically an auto press with the all the stamps on it and lasers and projector, and make it to where it's kind of like grab a transfer, place it, comes around, peel it, it's done. No dryer, no fucking around. It's been awesome, and I think that's the way things are going. I think there's a screen printing side to the business, there's a DTF side of the business, there's an embroidery side of the business. It's just for 2025, I think it's going to be automating that shit and making it faster. More and more, I'm seeing all these air picking up a transfer and placing it. We saw an MEM one the other day that was placing tags, and it's like that would be huge for us doing tags on stuff. It's like grab, place, press, done.
Rock's got that one too, and peels it.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. I think that stuff's gonna explode in 25.
Wow, I never heard of someone converting their press though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's huge. Like especially for the people like me as an owner, I'm like, oh, cool, DTF, let's do this and do the heat presses and whatever. But for them actually doing it, it's the biggest one of the biggest hurdles they had was loading. Like they're so used to loading shirts and hoodies and everything else on the press where it's thin and they don't have to worry about anything being in the way. But when they go over to the heat press, the bottom side, there's always like all this clunky shit at the bottom and in the way. And now they just load a shirt like normal on press and it spins around in the heat press and does the whole thing. And it's like so much faster.
I saw with my own eyes in beta development, a press that's debuting at Long Beach, Carousel DTF press. And I know that you're talking about converting your existing press, screen printing press, into
this is buying a
DTF.
press ready to go.
But this is a press that's ready to go, Carousel press by a certain manufacturer that a lot of us know and love, and they'll be debuting it next month. And the question really is it faster than just the twins, the side by side.
Way faster.
So well, maybe we have to find out. We'll have to see with our own eyes.
Can we race
I can tell you, we're doing it now. It's
Well,
way faster.
Okay.
All right, get Andy up on one, Dylan up on another.
I mean, they had the fastest loader competitions. We should get a side-by-side swivel and a rotating heat press and see what goes faster. We'll let Scott from King Street judge.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you have if we're looking at labor costs and you take 3 people to run the carousel, what if you had 3 people on twin shuttle presses? Is the output the same? That's the question. I think that's the question. Maybe, and apparently, maybe
it's output and labor costs.
What looks cooler?
True.
Yeah, the circular, the Dylan like arms coming up. You need steam too. Little effect here and there.
What I learned, I think, from this with this episode really is I just want to be part of the Dilly Club mainly. Somehow, if
you already are, bud.
Okay.
You were out. You were asleep, but I mean, it happened.
Gross. I mean, that's awesome, guys. This has been really fun. I'm glad we got to do it again, and I'm looking forward to 2025. I think I'm ready for 2024 to be done. Yeah, I'm definitely. I don't think I know I'm ready. I'm ready. Come on, bring on 2025.
I really respect everybody in this circle here, and I love that we all have different ways of life and different opinions, and I think all 4 of us coming together and having a conversation like this kind of gets a lot of perspective on a lot of the different things. It's not like we're all agreeing on every topic. So thank you guys for doing this with us.
And thank you for what you guys do for the industry. I know you guys are going to have a happy hour at Long Beach.
Thursday.
American Apparel, Gilda, and Live Nation. You guys are cranking it up a few notches. So
yeah, well, we booked Creed apparently because Dylan, it was both of our wishes. And he came up with the idea, and I'm like, well, let's just give him
maybe
a call.
or maybe not Creed. I mean, don't.
We'll see.
Could be a low budget cover.
I should have teased that a little better. Yeah, sorry. We don't know who it's going to be. It's maybe a Creed cover band from Long Beach.
Andy. It could be Andy
right.
performing
Andy
in Spanish.
Could be the hypnotist.
Could be the hypnotist.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, it's getting better. It's getting better, guys.
All right. Print Hustlers Shirt Show goers, we appreciate you guys for being able to join us on another beautiful episode with the gang together. We got to maybe figure something out for Long Beach. But hey, welcome back. 2024 Shirtee Awards. They have been given out. Thank you guys so much for being able to join us. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye, boys.
Thanks so much for listening. Hopefully that was informative. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications if you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy all the stuff we're putting out, it's really helpful. We love to just be able to see it. That means that we're doing a good job. to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and hit the like button. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.